Hello Stampers, MJ Owens here coming to you from the land of enchantment. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. This is the card I would like to show you how to make today. I think black and white cards are absolutely stunning. This card has a unique little cut here. It opens up on the top and then it also opens up to the inside. Let me show you the products that you'll need for today's project. The stamp sets that I'm going to use are Jar of Love, and all I'm going to use out of this one is this long stem here. Touches of Texture, and this is a 2-box stamp set, and there's some lovely background little texture stamps in here. I just love this stamp set. I'm going to be using this large flower here. Out of Accented Blooms, I'm going to use Always Thinking of You. And out of Hand Delivered, which is a Hostess set in the back of the new catalog this year, I'm going to use Miss You. And then also I'm going to use the layering ovals, and I'm going to use the third from the smallest scallop oval and the second from the smallest plain one, and when you put them together, they layer together. So that is just going to make our little frame right there. And then out of the Best Bird stamp set comes with coordinating dies, and out of the dies I'm going to use the die that cuts out this little flower right here. And then let's see, I think that's all for most of the projects. Let me show you the card layers we're going to be using. Oh yes, I'm going to use the punch. I forgot to tell you, the punch for the Varied Vases stamp set. This is the punch that coordinates, and you can get the Varied Vases stamp set. Let me show you that in the catalog right quick. Okay, this is on page 45. This is a really fun stamp set to use. There's so many things you can do with this stamp set. And here is the punch right here. If you buy it as a bundle, the stamp set and the punch, you get a 10% discount. Okay, so we'll use the punch, and then Memento Black ink is what we're going to be stamping with today. The card layers, let's start with the base layer is an 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. Then the inside would be 5 1/4 by 4, and then 5 by 3 3/4. That'll be for the inside. Then the top part of the card is an 8 by 5 1/4, and then you score it at 4. And then we'll need a piece of scrap black, a piece of scrap white, and then a little piece of black cut at 1/2 by 4 1/4. So let's get started on today's project. We're going to start with the top layer right here. Now what I did was I made myself a template. I took the same size card, 4 by 5 1/4, a piece of cardstock, and then I measured 1 inch across the top with a ruler and 1 inch across the side with a ruler, and that made my little template because I wanted to make several cards and I didn't want to have to measure each time. And then I made a little tick mark at 1 1/4 down here. So what I did was open up the card and put the template like this right on the front of the card. So then I took a pencil and I very lightly drew where I'm going to cut out the oval. And that just made things just go a lot quicker if you're going to make several cards. So I'm going to bring in the Big Shot, and then I'm going to cut out the oval first. with the plain little oval here. So I lay it there on my little marks. Put the plate on top and run it through the Big Shot. Okay, so there we have our oval cut in the top part of our card. Then the next thing we're going to cut out while we have the Big Shot up here is out of our scrap black. We're going to cut out the frame. So we need both of the little ovals. We just layer them together on here. And it makes such a lovely little frame for that cutout. And then we're going to go ahead and use the little flower while we have the black out. And run it through the Big Shot. Okay. Now we have our pieces. Okay. So here is our nice little oval frame. And here's the little flower. And I already cut out the second little flower we need to save a little bit of time. So that's all the big shotting we're going to do. Put that away. So now that we have our card here, we're going to go ahead and adhere this. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and use our template. And since I already marked 1 inch from the top, I'm going to use my pencil and put a little tick mark right here where the 1 inch is. And then I marked over 1 1/4 inches and put a little mark here. So we're also going to put a little mark there. So now we have 2 marks on our card here. One at 1 inch and one at 1 1/4 inches. So what we're going to do is take our trimmer, and I'm going to go from the score line here, put that in the middle of your track, and go to and put the first mark here in the middle of the track. So that way you can just cut that piece right off. Oops. There. So that's your first angle. The second angle, we're going to go from the point to this second little mark we made down here, and make sure they're both in the center of the track. Okay, then we can erase our little pencil mark. I think that's all we need the trimmer for. So let's go ahead and get those little marks off there. Okay, so now we can glue on our little frame. And I'm just going to use Tombow glue. It's a new bottle, so I hope it doesn't come out too quickly. I'm going to hold it like this. Okay. And that just frames the little oval very, very nicely. And the Tombow gives you a little bit of wiggle room to get it as straight as you need to. Okay. So that's our little frame. Okay, so the next thing I think we'll do is some stamping. So I already have my stamps mounted, and we're going to use Always Thinking of You along the bottom. There you go. And then we're going to use, going to go ahead and glue on our black strip right quick. There, that looks better. And then take your snips and just cut off the excess. Okay. Okay, so now that that's done, we can do a little more stamping. We're going to stamp our stem. Bring in the Pierce mat because it's a photopolymer stamp, and it stamps so much better when you use the Pierce mat. Wipe off some ink right here so I don't get it on my card. Okay. You put one flower here. Oh, it covered up both those leaves. That's kind of cool. And then we'll put one flower on the other top of the other leaf. Right there. Okay, so there's our flowers. And now we're going to stamp Miss You in the middle of the oval. Okay, so let's stamp Miss You. And now we're going to stamp this large flower. And it's a rubber stamp, so we don't need the stamp Pierce mat. So let's go ahead and ink up our stamp. Well, we're going to stamp this one 3 times. Get it good and inked up. We're going to stamp it once on the inside portion of the top piece. Okay. Then we're going to stamp it on the layers, the layer that goes on the inside of the card. Get it stamped, inked up good again. And then I think I'll get me a little piece of scrap paper. Second here, I'm gonna get some scrap paper. I'm gonna put this one in the corner this way. And that still gives us plenty of room to write on the inside of the card. Put that here for now, and then I'm going to stamp it one more time on our scrap piece of white. Let me ink it up this way. It makes it a little easier on these larger stamps. This time, when I stamp it, I'm going to stamp it upside down. Go ahead and use my scrap. And I'm going to put the flowers kind of towards the bottom. There. Okay. Now we're going to use our Vases punch that goes with the Very Vases stamp set. And this punches, if you put your cardstock in and you want to see where it's punching, it punches the vases upside down. That's why we stamped the flowers upside down. So I'm going to see where I want my flowers on the vase. And that looks good. So we're going to punch them out. And this is our modern looking vase with flowers on it. There are so many possibilities with this Vases punch because you can use designer series paper, you can use some of those background stamps and then punch out all kinds of different colors. It's just amazing. Endless possibilities here. Okay, so now that we have our little vase, we're going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of the vase. Pop that up on the front of our card. And that's going to go right there. Okay, that is the front of our card. Let's go ahead and use our bone folder and give that a good crease. Okay, so now we can put our card together. I'm going to go ahead and glue the inside black piece, and at the end of this video I will show you some more cards I made using the same layout but just a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. And then this is our inside piece. I'm going to line this one up. Okay. And then we just have to glue this to the front side. Let's go ahead and give it a good crease on this side. Okay, so there we have a very stunning black and white card. It opens this way and then it opens this way. Let me show you the other cards I made using this same layout. This card I took the same exact layout. Oh, I forgot to put our little pearls on here. We'll do that in a second. I took the same layout and I just inked the edges here, and then I glued this piece down so it just opens up like a card. So that I can't decide if I want to just use it plain or put a black background, so I'll work on that one. Then this one I used a black card base instead of a white card base, so it made it just a little bit different, and that also looks very stunning. And I don't know which one I like better, probably the black one. And then on this one I just took some rich raspberry and I cut out my flowers in that, and I colored in the flowers on the vase. So it's just a little pop of color with the exact same layout. So that just gives you another idea. You could, if you didn't want to leave it mostly black and white, you could go ahead and color the flowers on the inside. But I just left it black and white since that was the theme of my video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I loved making these cards. This is so much fun. This little vase punch is so much fun. Let me go ahead and put my little pearls right on my flowers. Just dresses it up a little bit. Makes it look quite lovely. There. So there are my cards. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. July is a fabulous month to join Stampin' Up! You can contact me through my website, and I'll leave all the information below the video. And the perks in July are you get $125 worth of Stampin' Up! Products for just $99. Then you have all the way from July to the end of the year, December 31st, to spend $300. And that's very easy to do over that long of a period of time. And not only do you get $125 for $99, $125 worth of products, but you also get, if you join in the month of July, a set of 10 stamp pads. You can pick the 10 in colors. Whoops, I have that upside down. You can pick the 10 in colors. You can either pick the 10 neutrals, or the 10 brights, or the 10 subtles, or the 10 regals. So that is a lot of stamp sets free. That's about $75 worth of product right there, in addition to the $125. So for $99 you get all of that. So please contact me. I would love to be your demonstrator, and I would love for you to join my team. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.